How's it going, guys, and welcome to another episode of How To. So recently I've had in the comments someone wanted to know how to build the Hyper Hover. Because they were on a different platform, they were unable to download it from the Steam the workshop. So I'm going to show you how to build the Hyper Hover. So whatever platform you're on, you can build it yourself. He said it looked fun, and it is. It's probably my favorite hover. So we're simply going to start with a seat. Let's go with the jet seat. So this is going to be a hover not designed to go in the water, so it doesn't really matter if we have an aquatic seat or not. But we're going to start with this because it's fairly aerodynamic to begin with. So this is fairly straightforward. We're going to grab a couple of our hover pads, and we are going to put them facing this way. So now that's not going to balance itself, so automatically we want to go to our, we're already on propulsion, so we'll grab a couple of these here helicopter engines. We will place them, I'm going to say to the forward. This is 5 wide, so again, can't center anything on here. So we'll move these, we'll leave those there. Actually, we might even move them one further ahead, so that we've got a gap in between here, and we're going to add a couple of angle sensors on here as well. I'm going to select both of these and set our settings to those to, let's say, 181 at 90 degrees. Check this one here. We've got dark on the front. This one's dark on the front as well, so we'll select that, rotate it, so we got dark on the back. So now we got one on either side. Don't forget to remove the controls on your helicopter engines. We'll leave the speed set at 5 for now. So this one here, we know this one's going to spin backwards, lifting up the backside. So this one is going to connect over to this one. This one will connect to that one. And let's do a quick test on that. Jump in, it'll hover, it'll roll to the left or to the right. So next, that's what we want to eliminate, is the rolling to the left and to the right. Same way, we're going to add a angle sensor to the back. We'll keep it above our hover pads as well. We'll set one over there, one over here. Set these to the same angles, except we're going to set these to 185 at 90 degrees. We'll set them opposite. And then we're actually going to move these. I'm going to move all 3 of these forward this way so that we have a gap in here. And we can put our helicopter engine more centered in the frame of the body. And we'll do the same thing here. We'll move this hover pad out. We'll copy this out to the front. Again, we want to remove controls from our helicopter engines. We'll leave it at 5 as well. And then we'll set these to the ones that we need. So we want, this one's going to lift to that side, so this one is connected to the back one. And again, don't forget, a good way to tell which one that you want to connect it to. If you know the direction that your servo is going to spin the body of your build, you want to compensate for the dark side where there is no blue. That's where you want the compensation. So this servo here is going to spin counterclockwise, which means the torque's going to pull me clockwise, which means it's going to support this weak side if it starts tipping that way to the dark side. So I know this one connects to that. This one is going to connect to the front because it's rotating in the opposite direction. And let's check that. So we'll jump in. Doesn't want to rotate forwards or backwards. As you can see, it's a little bit jumpy because we've got it set at 185, so they're constantly both spinning. That's all right. We need that for stability. So let's see the difference if we set those to 180. So say back and forth, we want to set this instead of 185, let's go 180 because we're like, hey, you want it level, right? 180 degrees. That should hold it nice and stable, right? Sure. Let's have a look-see. So we'll build that. You see what happens at 180. It eventually balances out if you don't move, but any kind of movement, and it goes 180, which activates it, then turns it off, but activates it the other way, so you end up rocking back and forth and back and forth. unless you've got really strong helicopter engines. So what we'll do is we'll take these, the front and the back, and just crank those to 10. And let's see how that does. Oh, look at that. Hard to call those stabilizers, right? When it's doing this. Look how stable. It's so stable, mate. It's not even funny. Getting like seasickness just watching it. So that's why I usually set these to slightly over. Because I know that two servos spinning counter each other will actually give some stability. Gets rid of small movements in the body. The gyroscopic stabilizer that I have built, you can check that video out up here if you haven't seen that. Doesn't use any angle sensors, just the helicopter engines themselves to create a base stabilizer, in the sense that it keeps small movements from happening. It keeps you level. I mean, you can still turn, but it'll just keep you level as you turn. So they actually provide stability by themselves with the angle sensors here, setting these to above 180. So I'm going to set them to 190. So basically all that's doing is using these again in that they're both spinning opposite each other, so they're creating that gyroscopic stabilization effect. And the angle sensors basically control them, turn them on or off if they get to that extreme of beyond 190 degrees. So we'll spawn that in. See the difference? So that's showing that the helicopter engines there are spinning right now, both of them spinning, creating that stabilizing effect. And we don't get the angle sensors kicking in until we try and turn. So this way it's great for staying level if you want to stay level. Not so good necessarily for a plane or something where you actually want to be banking or turning. But you can always turn those helicopter engines to speed down so that you can allow yourself to turn and tip a bit before they actually start countering yourself. So now that we've got this hovering like this, we want to add juice. Now we could add some thrusters on here. Let's add some simple dragon thrusters. We'll throw one on either side. Again, we want to try and keep these centered. So we'll try and keep them about here. We'll add two and we'll see how that does. So we're already set to space by default. So we're getting here. We only have seat steering. So that's a little wobbly. We'll hit the space and see what that does for us. We don't have any stabilization as far as vertical stability. Wow, okay, settle down. So, as you can see, we want to turn slightly. So it looks like we get up to about 200 kilometers an hour. And we're not weight balanced either now that we've got these on the back and nothing on the front. But we'll fix that in a moment. So we want to add some vertical stabilization. So we'll come down here to our wing tabs. Now, we could go with small, but they just don't work as well as these big ones, honestly. So again, we'll try and keep these as forward as possible, or we can actually keep them to the back, more like the science behind the flight of an arrow, where the flight's in the back because the weight is moving forward, so the stability comes from the back, which keeps the front going in the same direction. Alright, let's try that. Let's see if that'll keep us a little more stable, maybe not so wobbly. We can go in a straight line and see what we can get for a max speed. So 200 kilometers an hour, 210. Wow, that's just, yeah, okay, let's head back to the spawn point. Let's turn them helicopter engines down just a little bit. 10 might be a little bit much. Let's try about 5. Let's go back to 5. Oh, there we go, see? Not having any more conniption fits. Okay, so we were up to about 210. So even if we were to, let's try and add another set of thrusters to the front. That'll give us a little bit more weight in the front. So you can put them about here. We're not in the way of any of them spinning helicopter blades. You always want to, the engines. You always want to make sure that you don't have anything interfering with your stabilization. All right, let's try that. So we got 4 on there now. In theory, this should get us up to what, 350? We're at 260, 270. So already seeing the 280. Seeing the law of diminishing returns right there. So as you can see, we could put more thrusters on to go a little faster, but in all actuality, now all of a sudden your craft is going to get pretty big. The more weight you add, the more thrusters you need, so on and so forth. So that's why you need something that is more efficient than thrusters. That's why I went with a UFO engine. Because that will give you lots of straight, flat speed, and that's all you'll ever need. So we're going to move these to the back slightly, bring them in on top of the angle sensors. Down you go. Okay, we're going to copy this sucker. We're going to flip it upside down. Pop it right in here to the back side. Welcome to the back side. Alright, we're going to move that back because we need to throw in the magic piece. The almighty deuce. Put that in here, copy it up. And then we're going to copy it up. Una mas. One more. There we go with our small hinge. We're going to go with 2 of these. I always go with green as the default, and we want them to go down into the hover. So we're going to have that one there. Copy that so we have a second one there. We're going to set both of these hinges to activate on number 1 on green. Go green, we want to toggle that so that we can turn them on and off if we like. Get rid of the controls on the red angle. Speed can stay at 1. Angle we want to set to 12. That's my magic number. You can try some of the other numbers, some of the other angles, see if you get different effects on different builds. I find 12 is gives you the most consistent results, shall we say. So that's about all we need for there. Now, the pieces that you're going to add on here are going to be under the aerodynamics section. Down here at the end, we want the rounded corner inverted 1x2. And we want to set it up with this configuration. Rotate this so we have these seam in the middle like this. I want to select these 2 pieces, connect them to our hinges. There we go, just like that. So it will actually drive that wedge middle piece right into the middle of the hover. And okay, so we got nothing in the way here. Everything is attached. All right, let's build that. Let's set that up like that. Hit number 1. As you can see, 270. And we haven't added a single aerodynamic piece yet. So we're also going to need some steering. And as you can see, we're going to need to tweak the stabilizers a little bit. Still got a little bit of jerkiness going on. Okay, back to the spawn point, and you can see our weight is poorly distributed as well. So first things first, we need steering. Steering is always helpful. Back in old country, just about all vehicles had steering. So we're going to just add a helicopter engine. Right like that. Bang, right on the front. That's going to help us with some weight there as well. And we're going to set that. And see, I can put that on top there because the only place it's connected is the actual wheel in the middle is connected on those 2 control points there. But nothing else is actually touching anything with control points. So it'll still spin. So we're going to set that to A and D. So we have steering, but we don't want it to be too intense depending on how fast we actually get going. Slow speeds, you don't need it to be that strong. Yeah, we'll set this to like 3. And then this is going to spin, so let's go A and D. A lot of the time I'll just guess A and D, build it into the world, jump into your craft, hit A and D, see if it goes the right way. Yeah, that works. As you can see, we're a little more level. Hit number 1, and we're going to sink. Alright, there we go. So now at least we've got some steering. It's not very strong. So I'm going to bring that back up to 5 maybe, which tells me it's going to be a little strong, but we're going to be going faster than that, so this will work. So number 1. So now we've got some steering action. 270. That's not too bad. So another place, if we wanted to equalize things, let's go back to the spawn point. So seeing as how we have the same structure here, let's put another UFO engine over top of this. So we'll move our steering all the way to the back because we're going to move. We'll just copy that deuce, these 2 hinges, these two pieces, copy them straight up. Oh, we got the other hover pad there as well. Cool. We'll bring that over to here and drop it down to there. Just need to copy one of these, bring it down. Everything is connected, and I mean, if we wanted to, for symmetry's sake, we could also bring this out and just copy another deuce down here. Like that. Oh, and what we're missing? We're missing a wee hinge. So we'll copy that one over, make sure they're still facing the same way. And everything's connected. Stabilizers are good. Let's see what that does. So we're barely off the ground. Our weight limit is getting to the point where for only 2 hovers. So let's rotate this and hit number 1. Oh, hang on. We gotta rotate our steering is now opposite A and D. Because it's not on the front, it's on the back. It's on the back side. Number 1. Oh, why is that? Oh, see, the back ones aren't activating. We're only at 250, but the back hinges aren't. They're not bending. What's the matter with you? Okay, try that. Oh, those aren't bending either. Alright. Back to... Oh, we're at 350. Maybe it's just a visual thing. Okay, well, I don't like it being a visual thing. So we want to check these. To make sure they're both at 1. Yes. Okay. There's nothing in the way, or maybe these are getting in the way. So we'll move them back 1. Because again, sometimes the friction of these wanting to drop down, being held on the side by this, you can see the hitbox of the fins can get in the way sometimes. So we'll get rid of those. We'll hit number 1, and away we go, right? Oh, wow. Oh, see what's happening there? Got the fin in the back, it's all whacked. Alright, see, this is what it's all about, just trial and error. This is the basics on how to build it, on how to only have a 2 hover where it stabilizes itself. So this is giving me some grief here, so let's just take this and maybe put it right on top of there. What about that? Let's try that, shall we? Alright, number 1. 300, 330. So our steering is completely useless at this point because we're just going too fast. 330, 5 speed is not cutting the mustard for steering anyways. Alright, back to the spawn point. So that's the basics of that. So we're at 330 now. I bet you we can get this thing up over 400 miles an hour simply by adding aerodynamic pieces onto the front and adjusting the stabilizers. So I'm going to go with a couple of these small angled pieces found at the beginning of the aerodynamic tab here. We want to connect these down low, 1 on either side. And we're going to bring these down onto there. Again, trying to keep our center of gravity as low as possible. We're going to copy this exact same configuration, move it to the front, copy it to the other side. Now we've got something like that. The front needs to be more aerodynamic. So we'll look here and decide, do we want short stubby or long kind of a wee bit? I think I'll go with 2 of these down here. And then we'll grab this one here, top, copy it out, put it down there, and now we've got that. Now we've got this angle piece here because we don't want this being exposed for aerodynamic purposes. So we can even copy one of these and put it right on top of there. Look at that. Don't forget to use this tab to see where the problems are. See, that's why we want to take care of these angled sides. We've got red arrows. That's not a good thing. Alright. So what we'll do is we'll go down to the end here and we're going to grab some of these 3x1s. 3x3x1. And we'll spin that around. See if we can get that to fit on like that. And copy it to this side. And then we'll check the tab again. Ooh, look at that. Green means go. But it's still got a lot of red in here. That's the trick, is to try and cover up spots where things are moving. Because you know, I like to move it. Move it. Alright, well this one here will be quite easy, because we go back to the beginning to this small wedge piece here. Rotate it and pop it in there. Done. Done deal. No more red in there. And it's not interfering with this, because it's on a slope. Copy it to the other side. Problem solved. We cannot do that here, because we've got a spinning piece. But we can minimize damage by bringing this like this. Oh, actually, you know what? I might be able to... I'll copy this out and spin it twice round and then squeeze it in there like that. Look at that, eh? It's amazing what you can do with triangles. So we'll copy this to the other side. Oh, we've got a wee bit of orange in there, but we cannot do much about that. That isn't going to be up there in the air once that's shoved down inside. Alright, so now we've got a wee bit of red back here, which is again the front of these, so we can use our same triangular contraption thingamabobs here and bring it back, except we only need one. We do not need both. We'll go this one, because we've got... Hey, where'd you go? Got a spinning piece in there. We'll send this one over to the other side, spin it right around, put it in there like that, and there we go. Now we've got some red up here, but that's the steering. That's something that, oh yeah, we might as well modify that while we're here. We'll set that to, like, let's try 7 now. Maybe 7 will be strong enough. Orange under there, can't do much about that. A wee bit of red down here, but that's because of the front of these. Cannot do much about that, except... Oh, well, there's no moving parts back here, so maybe I could take a small deuce like this, sloped. Slope it to the front and swing it sideways like this. Put it right under there. Look at that. Look at that. Alright, we'll copy that to the other side. We've got the same problem back here, but we know how to take care of that, don't we? We just put a couple of these sloped angle pieces right up there like that. Shazam. Look at that. And we've got mostly green, except in places where we... Oh, okay, we've got a problem here. Hold it, Captain, we got a problem. So, okay, so we'll move that one back. Move this one back. And take this wee one here. Copy it out and put it in front like we did back there. Now, does that solve that problem? It does. No more red in there. Alright, well now I guess the real test is to see if this thing actually works. We'll put enough weight on it. Maybe we haven't got enough strength for the hovers now. Let's see, shall we? Build it and jump in. Hit number 1. Oh, look at that. 500. 600. Oh, hit the ground. 100. Almost 700 miles an hour. Or kilometers an hour, sorry. Our steering is not quite strong enough. But you can see the difference that aerodynamic pieces make, right? We went from doing 350 to 670 by adding weight. As long as it's the right weight. 600. Oh, look at that. It looks like we're way up in the air now. So we might actually... I wonder if seat steering will get me down back on the ground. It's not hovercraft, it's an airplane now. Look at that. It's a super hyper hover. So yeah, that's how I built the Hyper Hover. Hope that helps you guys with hovercraft as well as using them UFO engines for. Look at that. Okay, so you'd obviously have to put a little more controls on this thing, right? Because it's just going like a madman. Need to get back on the ground. Hit number 1. Turn them off. We go back to the ground, and we just fall right in the water. Like, I don't know what's keeping it in the air. There's no lift on this thing. We're slowly coming down. Slowly, slowly. On the water. There we go. Number 1. Ha! Instant bullet train! Ah! Yeah, no doubt. Alright, all kinds of fun, guys. Hope that helped. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell. You'll find out when the next crazy video comes out. And we'll see you guys in the next one. Ciao.